Happy Halloween, everybody! Hi, Mark. How are you doing today? Yeah, I just got married. Guess what my husband said to me? It's like, Lynn, do you want to have a pumpkin spice bread? I'm like, no, I'm not married anymore, as you can see. I'm a zombie bride. Yeah, I keep forgetting to press the stand live button. So now we're both live.
Oh no, okay.
Sorry about that. Mark, what are you?
I am a hopeless Leaf fan, so
Okay.
been
And I'm
waiting
a
for
zombie
53
friend.
years to see another Stanley Cup.
Oh,
I'm actually old enough to remember the last one. So,
yeah. Since we can't really do Halloween this year, usually we have like a company potluck and we all come in our costumes and really
oh,
enjoy each other. But since we are not having any of that this year, I just figured I'll just dress up today and yesterday and the day before yesterday and
that's a cute
celebrate
one.
Halloween. It's a
Yes,
Halloween.
I had to. I guess I don't know how you say it, but I put my Buzz Lightyear costume to rest. So when we moved, it was all about scaling down. So it went to Salvation Army. Hopefully, has another good home.
Uh,
But yeah, at ADM at our research center, we would get dressed up every year on a Friday near Halloween, and so that all of the colleagues could bring their children to research, and we would hang a balloon wherever you had candy, and I would get dressed up and welcome them all in the entrance, and then of course the kids loved seeing Buzz Lightyear, so that was always my favorite part.
well, we might have to get you some of the costumes for next year. Happy Halloween,
Happy
Cindy.
Halloween, everybody.
Yeah. So, what's happening at the forum?
Well, in the forums, the conversation with Raymond on pizza dough and dough conditioners for pizza dough is continuing, and so Joanna kindly reposted your post because it kind of got lost in an update, and but it's there, and so we're waiting on some more feedback from Raymond on things, but it seems to be it's a little bit more dough hydration and stuff, and not just dough conditioners. And getting him a contact with Lalamund to speak with, right, on some of the things that he's interested in. And then we have some two new interesting posts. Oh, I do want to remember that we did increase the size of images attachments that you can upload now to make it a little bit easier. And wanted to encourage Sylvester to repost his images so we can better see what he is talking about, what his concern is with breadcrumb resilience and flakiness. So we can have that conversation when we can see his images better. And then we have one interesting one is about sugar in yeast doughs. And members referencing a book that they read about that when you increase the sugar in a sweet dough, you need to increase the yeast. But it doesn't specify a ratio or a percentage, which that is correct because there's a lot of other things going on. It also depends on the pH of your dough, how much fat is in the dough. Try to add high amounts of fat, like in brioche. You want to add that as late in the process as possible to ensure that you don't excessively lubricate the gluten. Otherwise, the gluten can't really form well. Um, and and so there's no hard and fast rule, but as you go up in sugar, you have to increase. Lallemand does also offer osmotolerant yeast, which is very helpful in high sugar doughs, so that it can basically compete for water better that way. But what you're dealing with is osmotic pressure. So you need to increase sometimes double, sometimes threefold. All
I was
depends
just
on
gonna
where you're
say that.
starting,
Usually
right?
double,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, on a sweet dough, it's not unheard of to have 6% yeast.
Mhm.
Not instant, but 6% as fresh yeast is usually
Yeah,
the rule of thumb.
yeah.
So instant would be about 2%, which is pretty high, right?
Yes, and I would like to add to that too. I've seen plants do that and then not being aware that there are osmotolerant, bleh, say that three times real fast. Osmotolerant yeast.
Mhm.
And then when they find out that the osmotolerant yeast is more expensive, they give up the idea. But you are going to double, triple your yeast level anyway.
Yes. So
Why
if
don't
you're
you just use a lower level of osmotolerant yeast?
correct, yeah.
So
If you
look
use
into that.
you just do a small increase, perhaps if any at all, with the osmotolerant yeast, and the additional cost actually produces savings for you because
Right.
you're not putting so much yeast in. Plus, it also becomes a flavor issue. You don't get a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
fermented flavor
Yeah.
like like you do in breads. When you increase that, it just tastes like yeast, right? And
Mhm.
so you're going to get that yeasty taste without all of the nice fermented aromas when you go to high yeast levels. So you have to be
Correct.
aware of that as well too.
Correct. I
And
wanted to add to that as well. We have a topic on osmotolerant yeast. So if you're
perfect. Yeah,
looking at,
I will make sure I link that then too, so
yeah,
that that is
that's
in the
great. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
Yeah, and so we'll get back to, I think it was Miriam who was asking that question, and then the other one is again from our friend Edel, and so Edel sounds like he's making hamburger buns in the lab, and he's getting what he says it caves in at the base. So I would say that what it is it's concave. It is what I would say is that the bun is pulling up away from the pan. And the three most likely causes of this are: number one, hydration. If the dough is too stiff, it'll the gluten becomes very strong and it pulls back, right? So for a hamburger bun, it could be that the dough is too dry, too firm. Um, the other thing, the most common one otherwise tends to be over baking. That he is baking too long so that he's drying the bun out too much, and then it's basically just pulling up as there's nowhere to go because the lack of moisture. And the other one is if they're adding gluten or something, that they're adding too much gluten.
I've
Um,
seen a
yeah,
system that's add
yeah.
gluten so much
Yeah,
that
or if they're adding datums
it does
sometimes
that.
to get more oven spring, and
Yeah,
then the
and
datum
also if
tightens the
you
gluten
leave
up.
the bun too long on the pan, it's gonna do that as well.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They need to come off the pan when they come out of the oven. Otherwise, they're being heated too long and they dry out, and then the whole thing just contracts. Right? So it's what's happening physically is it's contracting. So why is it contracting? Is it contracting because there's so much tension there, or and if there is, what is creating that tension? So look at dough hydration and gluten formation and baking times. Those are the main things. Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I'll post a response on that as well, yet for Edel, right?
Yeah,
And those are the main things we have right now. We continue to have signups every day.
that's
I've seen a bunch more today as well. So we're growing and growing, and it just never stops. And
great.
we can try to scare them away with our Halloween costumes, but they just keep coming.
Keep coming back. Don't forget, folks, we have the high protein, low carb at Bakerview in a couple of weeks. And if you sign up for that, you have to be a member, and membership is free. If you sign up for that, you're going to learn from the world class, well-renowned serial scientist, Dr. Odie Menengut. And he has worked with so many food systems, and he's currently the chief technical officer at MGP Ingredients. So he's going to share his knowledge during this Bakerview. In 2 weeks, folks, don't forget to cash into the keto diet trend.
And he's
Come to this class to learn more about.
And I want to add to edify him further, he's a great knowledge sharer, as the way he shares, it's practical, useful, understandable information. It's not high level academic gobbledygook. And so, well, you've seen some of those presentations too, Lynn, I'm sure. And there's often interesting information, but then they're so busy using big words to impress everybody that nobody knows what they're actually saying.
Here at BAKERpedia, especially with our Bakerview Baker papers, know whatever you call them, gobbledygook. No, that's not allowed. Our editors don't allow it. We need to make everything simple and straightforward. If you can't explain it in one breath, then it cannot be explained for the layperson who is at BAKERpedia, and it's one of those things where, I think I don't know if I shared this with you, Mark, but at the beginning of our journey, when the scientific community was looking at what I was doing, I got a lot of pushback from them because it was too simplified. It wasn't in-depth enough. I even got a really angry email saying that you shouldn't be doing this. Someone pointed out, this is not how staling is being done. There's other factors that apply to staling as well. And this particular person just did not like my 600-word summary of what staling is, So we could have gone into a war of words and war of what is right, what is wrong. But if I can't tell the baker on the line, what the solution is to staling without sharing theories on staling.
Well, some of the organizations are very slowly starting to learn or understand or comprehend that to even get the public on our side, to understand the science behind nutrition, just as a simple thing, and to get the public on our side, to a bit of a pun, we have to make it digestible. I mean, you can't feed them huge amounts of complex information. Yes, it's all valid information, but you got to start with the foundation of what they can understand. I mean, I heard today in history was when the periodic table was created. And the periodic table, as we know it now, was a little bit more than half the size of what it is, because we didn't know all of those elements. We have to grow. We have to add those things. And so that's how we have to treat information. And too, we need to learn and understand the foundation of things, not oversimplified fundamentals, the foundation. And that's what BAKERpedia does extremely well, and is the best and only source really out there that I've ever been able to find. And that's why I'm so proud to be a member on the team. And because we make it understandable for everyone, we make it applicable. And that is so key, right? I mean, that doesn't invalidate all of the other scientific work and findings, but to get everybody there, we need to start off with what's important, the key part, right?
Absolutely.
It's the same if you want to try and explain to people that honey, agave, corn syrup, and sugar are all the same thing, you can't start with the complexity of the molecules. You have to start with the simplicity of it, that it is simply carbohydrates. And then
I mean, not everybody wants to know or go into the science of disaccharides or monosaccharides. Nobody really cares about that stuff. I mean, we write about Maillard browning, but nobody really cares about that. Honestly. Mainly because, it's too really confusing. It's too difficult to understand, but we really dumb it down on Maillard browning. And the reason why we wrote it is because there were too many questions concerning browning and sugars, right? And you can't really explain browning and sugars if you don't go into Maillard. But if you look at a Maillard topic, I think I would have made my food science college professor really mad because it is not a thorough. I have to admit, it's not a thorough explanation of the Maillard reaction because the Maillard reaction is so complex, like so many things going on.
Well, there's
Oh, it's
so
important
many,
to
there's so much
summarize
protein
it,
browning that is happening as well. And
right?
now there's been in the last few years, there's a researcher at I'm pretty sure it's the University of Illinois, and what they have stumbled on and they're looking to prove is that sugar doesn't caramelize, that it's actually a breakdown of the sugar.
Oh, nice.
So
Oh,
in the sense
let's hear
that
more
we've
about
always thought that caramelization requires heat, like high temperature, like 365
that.
and above. Whereas actually what they're showing is that you can brown sugar at 300 degrees or even lower.
Oh,
And
nice.
because
So the heat
it's
manipulation?
not the heat process, like it's not the the the
Yeah,
temperature dependent,
right.
that it's breaking down
Breaking
the
of the chain.
carbohydrate that it starts
Right.
to then brown, right? So
Right.
it's you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, say, hey, even I can start to understand that now.
Yeah, we need to, and that's how we do it. That we reference new links onto our footnotes so that people who want to learn more can go to those, backlinks
Yep.
and learn more. So we update our resource every year, so everything in there is updated. It's not like Wikipedia where you go in there and you're like wondering if this
And
information.
down the rabbit hole you go.
So yeah. A lot of things are happening at BAKERpedia, so I would encourage all of you to join the Academy today. We are over 1,800 members strong and learning.
Yep.
So
And
thank
sign
you,
up for
Mark.
the protein seminar. The seminars at BAKERpedia, as I tell everybody, they're fun. They're conversations
They're
like
little
this.
gold nuggets.
They're
Yeah,
not dry, boring PowerPoints.
yeah,
It's a fun, very interesting learning environment. It really is.
yeah. Mark, I want to thank you again for bringing the community together at the forums and encouraging the discussions there. I want you to make sure you keep warm this coming weekend. It's gonna be cold over there.
It's 32 today.
0 degrees.
Fahrenheit.
Fun. All right. Well, thanks for all the Halloween treats that you baked this week. And I'm expecting you to send me some pumpkin. Ooh, look at that.
I got my pumpkin cinnamon rolls.
Nice.
I made a pumpkin brioche where I replaced the milk with pumpkin puree and got some cinnamon spice in there and a nice cinnamon pumpkin spice butter glaze. I don't
Wow.
like cream cheese.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're gonna send me some stuff to eat too?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
I have pumpkin spice muffin mix on the way to you. I know you don't like pumpkin spice, but you'll like this. This one is nice.
Well, the reason why I don't like pumpkin spice is because people overdo it. Like, it's okay to have a tad bit, right?
Yep.
But if you put like too much cinnamon in there, it just messes up the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a nice blend of
it's not about cinnamon.
Yeah. It's a nice blend of cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. Nutmeg is one of my favorite
It needs
spices.
to be light,
And it's yep, and it's made with the Soulange oat flour. So there's a high ratio of voice. So they're muffins with a healthy halo. They're like a little devil with an angel halo.
I can't wait. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, and some oatmeal cookies made with the Soulange oat flour for you too. Got those on the way to you. Yeah, so I'm sure you'll enjoy those. You'll get them before Thanksgiving at least.
Okay. All right, Mark. Thanks so much for joining me today.
All right, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.